events and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
Hey everybody, we are back. And yes, of course, everything starts out with a glitch after summer break. So give me a second until we're also on the Facebook page on the Los Angeles Tribune. However, we're live everywhere else, as you know. And I know it's been a while. It's been summer break. So I know you'll all be coming in slowly but surely, but I'm excited to be back. There's one change in our show this season, as I should say, and that is we're only going to do bi-weekly. Why? Because that means you're even more excited when you are here live with us. And I'd like you to have your interactions. Big shout out quickly, of course, to my wonderful colleagues. I don't know if you saw, but it was a really, really great announcement analysis. And the Los Angeles Tribune scored the highest and being innovative. So I feel truly blessed to be here and work with Mo Rock and, of course, Rex Sykes and so many others. Goldilocks, not to forget that amazing woman. So today we are back with the Dr. Natalie Show. And as you know, whenever we get together, we're really just chatting, talking, because what I want is for you to be able to actually see more about the real people. We often think somebody's on TV, somebody has a show, somebody gets paid thousands of dollars to speak from the stage. They must be special. They must have such, I don't know, they were born with a golden spoon. Well, not necessarily. So today I'm bringing in, there she comes, Orly Amor. And I love her name. I love her name. Hi.
Hi. Thank you, Natalie, for having me. And it's amor, like love in Spanish.
I know, amore. I'm always thinking Italian, and then I want to, U.S. English size it or whatever you say. Because you are right now in New York, right?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. So we're coming to you from two different continents.
Yay.
Orly, you are known as the speaker's trainer. You help people not just get gigs, but you hold their hands on what to do when speaking, to be real, to be authentic. And I want to dive in there. And then later on, I want to dive into a number of the other initiatives that you have. Mm-hmm. Speaking. What got you into speaking? Let's start with that.
Wow, that's a loaded question. So, well, when I was in property management for a very long time here in the United States, I was asked to speak, and then it started to just unfold, and I was speaking only about property management. And then one of my friends asked me to speak at a women's shelter, and I said to her, "Well, what do you want me to speak about? Property management? I mean, it doesn't sound right." So she said, "Well, no, I want you to tell your story." And I said, "Well, no, I don't want to do that. Sorry." She knows me from a long time and knows my personal story. So after, I don't know if you have an annoying friend, but I have annoying friends, and she was pretty annoying. She called every single day for 3 weeks asking me, if I'm going to do it. And I said no every single time. But after 3 weeks, I got annoyed. And I said, why do you want me? There's other people who speak of this subject, right? So she said, well, you have this bubbly personality. Everywhere we go, everybody hugs you. And you're like a social butterfly. And you live a lifestyle that most people dream about. So I want you to come and give this women hope. So I said, okay, what do I have to do to get you off my phone? And I still was relentless. And so she said, you have to say yes. And so fast forward, I spoke at the women's shelter a few months later, and I hired a coach for that because I didn't know how to motivate. I just knew how to talk facts. And so it was very different for me. Although I follow Tony Robbins around the world, some like him, some don't. It doesn't matter to me, but I followed him all over the world. And so I accepted, and I went on stage, and something weird happened is that when I got off the stage, first of all, there was not one dry eye in the place. And when I got off, people were coming to me differently. It was more like, thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming. Thank you for giving me hope. So I saw the impact I was making, but it didn't hit home yet. It wasn't my pivotal point. At one point, one lady came up to me and she was crying profusely. We were trying to calm her down. And then she took a piece of paper out of her pocket and she said, this is how I was going to kill myself this morning. But I heard you speak and I want to live. I just need you to show me how.
Yeah.
And that's when you realize that life is bigger than you and so on. So I decided right there and then that this is what I wanted to do, have that impact on people. And since then, it's been 20 some years. And since then, I've met so many people that want to have this impact in the world. So speaking has become a great catalyst for your message in this world. And what a better, there's no better way. So I've been public speaking for now 25 years full time.
Wow. And I love that story. And I always hesitate to say story because it's real life.
Right.
I mean, we talk about, a smile can change a life. A smile can save a life, but you experience that firsthand.
Yes, totally.
That's empowering. And I like the fact that you say, there was not a dry eye in the place, because I always feel like when nobody cries, I didn't do my job. It's like, oh, that's kind of strange.
Yeah.
What do you talk about? Because you're very authentic. I mean, I've heard you in different venues, and I'll talk about some of your books in a moment. You have a range. So what do you talk about on stage?
It's very funny. In the beginning, I was talking about networking because I am a networker. I'm trademarked the Millionaire Connector. So I like to connect people. And so I was talking about networking. Your network is your net worth, which is if you don't make enough money, you don't know enough people, or you're not connected to enough people. It's a numbers game in life, right? And then I got certified as a behavior analyst. And when I got certified as a behavior analyst, it was really exciting for me. I was gobbling it all up. It was so amazing. And then I discovered a way to teach some of it to salespeople and to help them close the deal 98% of the time. So I called it How to Close the Deal 98% of the Time Through Profiling, not through Sales 101, because I don't teach sales. I don't even know how to do that. But I do teach personality types and ego states and how to read them within 3 seconds, which is awesome. When you know how, it's fascinating. And so I spoke about that all over the world, 27 countries, 18 states so far. I just love that topic for corporations.
Right.
Yeah. And so only until 2019, after I've been coaching speakers about the business of public speaking since 2010, but only in 2019 was I asked for the first time to speak about the business of public speaking. I was like, I never even knew that was a topic for me, but it was not. I was just teaching people how to make the money in this business, And of course I can teach people to speak, but that's not my passion. My passion is to teach them how to make money. So I was asked, and I was flown to Grenada in a beautiful resort for 40 businessmen who wanted to know how to monetize their message through public speaking. And that became my topic about how to monetize, another topic, right?
Yeah.
And but before that, I was also teaching mindset mastery to Fortune 500 CEOs. And instead of doing it myself now, I just certify coaches in it, which is even better for me.
Now that sounds interesting. You said something, and I know when we actually met in person, you elaborated a little bit more on that. And that was you sort of threw in behavioral dot 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 dot. So tell, if you don't mind, I hope it's not like illegal.
I'm here for you and your audience,
But tell us a little bit about that, analysis and how you almost ended up at the FBI, because I think that flows directly into the idea of behavioral types, personalities, which is so important in the work that we do.
Yes, and also in relationships and in
Yes.
everything we do has to do with behavior analysis. So it's really cool. Well, I'm a certified trainer in DISC, DISC. It's a form of profiling. There's many. Some of you may have heard of Myers-Briggs, or you may have heard of others. I remember learning about psychogeometrics. There is so many different modalities in profiling, but I was teaching this at a university here in Brooklyn, New York, and it was funny because I was asked to speak to a group of people, and there were two gentlemen sitting in the back of the room, and I was told that these gentlemen are there to observe and only to observe, not to include them in the workshop, if you will, and that's it. So after I was done teaching DISC and more about profiling, really, these two gentlemen came over to me, and one of them said, "I'm Agent so-and-so, this is Agent so-and-so, and you should be definitely considering working for the FBI." And I said, "No, I don't think so." And they tried to convince me, but I said, "You know what, guys, no, I make more money than you, so it was not a good idea." But it was a very good conversation, and very, very shocking for me, because that's not what I was, I was still applying for citizenship. It was really weird. It was like, okay, you guys really checked me out, or you did not check me out.
So now you were analyzing them, right? It's like, are you really?
At this moment, I was like, okay, this is interesting, But in the class, I was, one of the students said, "Can you guess what we do for a living?" And after already being there for about an hour and a half, I basically guessed everyone 99.9%. I guessed everybody right. It was just by their demeanor and their when they talk, what they say, how they say it. And so it was easy to read approximately. Like if it was a nurse or a teacher, I would know nurse, teacher, and there's like categories. Oh, you're an accountant or a bookkeeper or a financial planner. It was just that kind of guessing, but one of them would be that, and it was really cool. So yeah, that was my experience with that, and I'll never forget it. I can tell you that. I keep telling that story because it's hysterical. You're thinking you're going to teach a workshop. You're not thinking, oh, what?
It's a job interview.
Yeah, exactly. You don't think that.
Yeah, that's
pretty
interesting. Cool. Well, I love that story because you're so good with people. And I think in the work that you do, whether it is training speakers, whether it's creating a number of organizations, we'll talk about some later, but you're always trying to understand people, listen to people. And I've seen that firsthand, so I'm not just speaking from some kind of article, but you're really there. You're trying to listen. And in the work that you do in the various avenues, it must be such a good thing to have that insight. So the question that follows out of it is, when people want to work with you and their personality, do you sometimes say no just because of that?
Well, it's not about their personality when I say no. I do say no. but that's because they're ego driven. If they're ego driven, I prefer not to do business with them. It's not, some people are there for the right reason and they want it badly enough, and they'll even go get the money in 3 different ways to pay me and to be with me, and they want it so bad that they'll do anything to get there, right? To get to where they want to be and to help others. So their heart is in the right place. People are egotistic, think they know it all, been there, done that. You know what I mean? It's just, okay,
Right.
but you haven't done it all. And maybe you're where you are because you didn't do it all, right? So it's like, if you don't have that recognition, and sometimes I just want to give people some humble pie. But to your point, when I see people, when I'm with people, I treat them as I want to be treated, with respect, with love, with empathy, because everybody's going through something, guys. I mean, nobody's perfect. Nobody has the perfect life. Even with all the money in the world, those people have problems too. So what we need to do is just treat them as human beings who all need to want to be wanted, to be fitting, to fit somewhere, and to belong. That's the way I treat them. No different than the guy who cleans the bathrooms or the guy who runs the bank. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I love that, because it is about the human being and the heart, isn't it? I mean,
Absolutely.
I think it should be, in everything that we do, and in the work that you do. I'm now moving a little bit away from speaking. We can come back at it later. Hi, everybody. We've got like a whole bunch of you. Thank you for being live with us. You can type in, where you're from and ask questions. So feel free to do that. As you can see, Orly's real. She's live. You mentioned before that in this scenario with the FBI, with teaching the class, you were applying for citizenship. So what's your origin? What's your story? How did you get to where you are right now?
Well, it's very funny because when people ask me that question, I'm like, remember that you asked me that question, because I'm a mutt, like I'm a real mix. My father's Moroccan, my mother's Egyptian. I'm born in Israel. I grew up in Montreal, Canada. I live in the States now for 20 years. I'm married to a Greek guy. Like, it's like I don't have anything.
I love it. It's multicultural. It's right there.
I have 3 passports, but my proudest moment is when I became an American citizen on July 15, 2021. I'll tell you I am the proudest American there is. I've traveled the world, and I feel that Americans don't appreciate what they have here. And yeah, we can complain. Everybody complains about everything everywhere. It doesn't matter. But we are in the best country, and we should really stick to our guns and keep it that way.
Okay, so you are the multicultural, I don't know, persona, which I think is great, and I think the reason why I wanted you to mention it, because some people still think they're like only one, but there's so much mixture, and sometimes we don't even know all the mixtures that we have in us, and I think that makes it so enriching and so empowering.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, Pennsylvania. Hi, Dan. Oh, Dan Armstrong is just wonderful. I had him on the show as well.
Awesome.
So he's just south of you.
Yeah, not far. A hop, skip, and a jump. Awesome.
I know. Yes. Yep. Now, in the work that you do, you also mentioned a little while ago that you used to work on mindset. Okay. And one of the books, you have a number of them, but one of the books that you have is Mindset Mastery. So what are those 12 powers? You don't have to go into detail, but
yeah, we won't go into all of them because that'll take too long. And we need maybe a couple of other shows. But so Mindset Mastery comes from my own story. And now I can share you the story that I told, that I share on stage. I'm going to share it really quickly. It's a couple of seconds. But I was a beaten up child. I was molested 4 times before the age of 14. I was raped 3 times before the age of 22, twice gang raped, 9 months apart, left for dead. I was also married to a very abusive husband, both mentally and physically. And as a result of that, I had 4 abortions, and I gained a morbid amount of weight. I was 429 pounds at my heaviest, 28, 29. Who's counting? But my story led me to a lot of self-healing, And a lot of people think that I should be in an insane asylum or gone to drugs or alcohol, which I have not done any of that. I've never smoked, I've never drank, or I did not get drunk. Basically, I do drink, but I don't get drunk. And so people have always thought, well, you're probably strong. I don't think that I'm stronger than anyone else. I just knew that that beating to myself had to stop. So in the book, we talk about 12 statements like saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. Those are self beatings, right? I don't know, Natalie, if you've ever beaten yourself up with a big rock on your head, and I'm assuming no, because you're still here. Well, saying shoulda, coulda, woulda is basically beating yourself up that way and not knowing how much damage you're doing to your brain. And basically, those are all anchors in the brain, and the brain does not know the difference between the truth and a lie, wrong and right, and the truth and the lie, right? So we said that. What I want to say is that, well, how do we prove that the brain does not know the difference between wrong and right, and good or bad? Because people tell me, in the book it says, well, there's no good and bad in the world, and there's no wrong and right in the world. And people, when I say that, people say, well, Orly, until now you had me. I was pretty good, right? But this does not make sense. There is good and bad in this world. And I say, yes, but it only applies to you. This is good for me or bad for me, wrong for me or right for me. And the way we prove that is that something that's good for you, Natalie, may be bad for me. So which one of us is right? And that means both of us, because it's applicable. And so, mindset mastery is all about how we think, and not how we apply thought, because thoughts create feelings, not the other way around. Now, many people have heard of Abraham Hicks and Brene Brown and Wayne Dyer, which I listen to as well. And I just simplified it in this book, where I tell people you have the powers within you to change. You have the powers within you to commit to a steady flow of feelings that make you feel better and bring more good into your life. And you can change if you choose to.
Yes. Yes. And the choice, I think, I sometimes say you make twice. First, you say it, but then you got to act it.
Yeah, information is nothing unless it's implemented, you know. I can tell you a very cute anecdote about where I spoke in San Diego. I was the opening act and I was the closing act, if you will. I started on Friday, my first time on stage, and then at the end of the conference, I was the speaker. So on the first day of the thing, it was like 4:00 in the afternoon, and I came on stage and I said, "How's everybody feeling? Are you excited to get started?" And everybody's, yeah, And I said, "How many of you read the book, The Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale?" And like 2/3 of the room raised their hand, and one guy said, yeah, everybody read that book. And I said, "Who said that?" Right? And the guy goes, me. And so I said, "Get up. What's your name?" He goes, "Mike." I'm like, "Mike, you know what? They've redone the book. I need you to go and buy it today. I think we still have time. Stores are open. I need you to go buy the book. I'll pay for it. So bring the receipt to my girl over there in the back and get paid. And I want you to read a little bit over the weekend. I'll come back on Sunday and we'll talk about that. Is that cool? Would you report to it? Is everybody encouraging Mike to do this?" Right? And I got everybody involved, right? We come Sunday, I get up on stage. I'm like, "Where's Mike?" I said hello and all that stuff, but where's Mike? And Mike goes, "Me, I'm here. I'm like, "Mike, did you get the book?" "Yes." "Did you get paid?" "Yes." So what did you think of the book?" "Oh my God, they redid it so beautifully. It sounds great, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Mike, with all due respect, they never rewrote the book. What happens is that you change your vision of it. You reading it today, because he read it like 15 years before. And I'm like, well, you know what? Because I had to tell people and to show them. That was my mindset mastery moment as well. We have to stop thinking that we know it all. We have to stop thinking that we've read it all. Sometimes you have to read a book 3-4 times before it sinks. We have a span attention now. I think they lowered it to 18 seconds. I think it was 20 seconds before. How did that get lowered? I don't know. But 20 seconds.
Twitter.
went to 18 seconds, and now I think it's even lower. We don't have a big attention span. I think my web designer said that attention span on a website is 3 seconds. I'm like, how do they even read in 3 seconds? I'm such a slow reader. What are you talking about, right? And so you got to just really blink and you're done. So that's the lessons that we learn have to be implemented in order to make a difference in our lives. Absolutely, you're right.
So important. And thank you, Dan. Yes, these are amazing insights. And Dan, you, of course, you're also an author, and you know that you read a lot of books too. So he's got a nice library. But
Awesome.
it is important. And, I highlight everything I read. I always blamed my history studies on it, but I highlight, and I've got a system to highlight. I got little Post-it notes so that I can go back to it. But then also, like you said, sometimes when I go back, it's like, why did I mark that? It just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Like, okay, that's
so
great.
true. So true.
But
Yeah.
that's how we filter it in and filter out what we don't need. And at different stages in our lives, we need different things.
Correct.
And so one of the other things that you said is, you used to do that, and now you certify people in doing the work you used to do.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I think, a dream for many and a fear for others. For example, I cannot fathom, I wouldn't have an idea how to train somebody to do what I do. It's just like, it's all intuitive and all of that. It's a little different when you, of course, have a system. So
Sure.
It doesn't mean I don't have a system. I do. So how did it feel to you to let go of the empire that you had, of all of the power that you had over that subject area, and now letting other people go out, teaching them, and they go out and spread your knowledge pretty much?
I don't think that you let go of the power or of your information. You need to be okay with sharing your information. So of course they cannot teach it to someone else. They can use it, right? It's not, so they sign a contract to that effect. Yeah. I have a legal background, so it's kind of like, okay, let's make sure you guys sign on the dotted line. But at the end of the day, this is about empowering people to empower others. In 2010, I decided that I want to impact the lives of 200 million people around the planet by 2025. And so at the time, I was also coaching mindset mastery CEOs of Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies. But for me, and I'm going to apologize in advance if there are CEOs listening to this, because some of you really need the help. And I know that it's a fact. I used to call myself the checkup from the neck up for CEOs, because they do have a dilemma, right? They don't want to go to a psychiatrist, and they don't want to go to a therapist because that's recorded. They can't go to their spouses because they don't want the spouses to give them advice on something they don't know or don't understand. They don't want to go to their friends because in their friends' eyes, they are successful and money and all that stuff. So they don't want to go and cry boo-hoo-hoo on their shoulder. And then they don't want to talk to their golf buddies about it. So, and they can't talk to their employees or their downline about it because, unfortunately, that's what you're going to stem down, and you don't want that in your company. Who are you going to talk to, right? So with a law degree and an MBA, I have a business mindset as well. So I was able to talk to them at their level, but also understand and be empathetic and give advice to that effect. Now, but mindset mastery wise, not business wise, right? It's very, very different. One of my clients, I remember, he said to me, I don't know how to, my brother doesn't trust me. I'm about to fire my brother. He's the president of the company, but I want him out. Right. And this is what happened to me, blah, blah, blah. And I bluntly just said to him, well, your brother doesn't trust you. Obviously, there's issues. Your brother doesn't trust you. I think what you should do is go for lunch with him and tell him that you're different today so that he can trust you and you guys can start your relationship again in a better, more respectful way. And if he sees that you're committed to the company, then he's going to change. And lo and behold, that's what happened. But it was a bigger conversation, of course, and
Yeah.
a lot more detail to this. But this is the bigger picture. And you know what? That man, that client, walked me down the aisle at my wedding. Not only that, and not only that, he's like, "You're my family for life. You saved my company. You saved me millions of dollars. If I would have had to fire my brother, I would have had to pay him out, and that would have been disastrous for the company. But you saved that, and I thank you for the rest of my life. My children are, like, they think of you as their aunt, like, it was so beautiful." And so what I say to people is that sometimes, as a mindset mastery is not about, it is about, some of it is intuition, for sure. There is no doubt there is intuition into any coaching, by the way.
Yes.
If you're a coach, you're intuitive at one point or another. You get intuitive, right?
You have to, yes.
You have to be, right? But the work we do is so much bigger than us. So it's not about letting go of power. It's not about letting go of knowledge. It's about spreading yourself, because you cannot clone yourself. It's about spreading it.
Yeah.
Any program can be put into a way of teaching it. And I'm going to give you the simple one. Teach it as if you would coach somebody. To go through the sessions and just coach, you have to have an outline. So basically, it's an outline. And once you have the outline, it's easy to teach.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a funny thing, right? I think we often hold ourselves back. Because we think we're the only ones. But then if you look down the line, you said 220 million. Okay, you got me by
200 million, yeah.
I'm halfway by about 210 million. So, But it is about impacting people, right?
Sure.
And you mentioned ego earlier. So it really is not about you. It's not about me, at least the way that I see it and having met you, It's about, we're just spreading what needs to get spread. We're just sharing what needs to be shared. And I think that's really important. I do want to take, well, I do want to, and I do have to take a tiny break. And then when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the other things that you do, which are related and maybe not. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, we will be right back.
Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
And we're back, and I got to show you this comment. I just love Dan. Yeah, he's so supportive. So, your joyful laugh is
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, he's an amazing gentleman as well.
Thank you.
So, sweet spirit. You got the lawyer, you've got the FBI, you've got the behavior, you got the speaking from the stage. You help people get gigs, and when you're their coach, I'm pretty sure you're not just, nice to them all the time, because you mentioned the humble pie. In addition to that, you have something that I would call might surprise others. Okay. What I mean by that is everybody knows you as a speaker or mastermind, and we'll talk about one of your books, of course, as well. But you also have this, and you can't really see it that way, the Health and Wellness Network. Where did this come from?
I tell people, this is funny because I have to tell you a story before I tell you the other story. Kind of.
Okay.
Okay. So the thing is that, as a speaker and as a business coach for public speakers, everybody even asked me that, like, how did you even get started as a business coach for public speakers? So the story with that is that I was traveling around the world, and then I went to Arlington, Texas to speak. And while I'm in the break room for public speakers, these three guys came over to me, and one of them said, "Aren't you Orly Amor?" I said, "Yeah." "Do I know you?" "Sorry, don't remember." And it was kind of creepy because now that you know my story, it was like scary that those three guys just walked over. And so I said, so they said, no, we've never met before, but we've seen you on the circuit. And I said, "Oh, okay, great." So we started talking and networking. And at one point, one of them says, "I'm just curious, how did you get this gig?" I said, "I don't know. I called. I told them what I speak about. They paid me, and I'm here." They all looked at me like if I had three heads. "You got paid?" And I said, you guys didn't?" They're like, "No, we got our expenses paid, but we didn't get paid." I said, "Oh, no, I got paid and I got my expenses paid." And now I feel so horrible because I want to see the event planner, right? And so they said, "Well, we want to know how you did that." And now that you guys know a little bit my personality, I said, "Well, if I tell you, I'm going to have to charge you." But I was just kidding. And so they said, "Okay, name your price." And I'm like, "What? Okay, let's talk about it later, whatever." It's like, this is not something I was doing, right? It was really weird. And that happened in June of 2010. So I went home and I'm thinking, wow, what's going on in this world? How come? And my friends were complaining too that they were not making money. So, my friends thought that $150,000 a year, which I guarantee, they said that that's crazy. They called me crazy. And since they were at my house and we were having a barbecue by my pool, I did not tell them that I tripled that because they would have drowned me in my own pool. I think that, like my cartoon imagination went off, it was like they're going to drown me, take over the house, and so it was kind of funny. So I basically created a program that teaches speakers how to get paid. They don't know the business side. They just want to speak and they just want to talk and they just want to get paid, but they don't know how to do the business side. Yes, there's speak to sell. Yes, there is pay to play. There's a lot of other methodologies, but if you want to just get paid, then there's a way. Anyway, so fast forward, here I am.
Hold on 1 second, because I'm going to show you a book. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, well, this is a cute thing. Public speakers, you're not all that. There's the ego going out the door. 12 reasons why event planners won't hire you, right? I mean, yeah, it's a cute book too, because I write like I speak. So it's like, oh, but wait,
it's
there's
very
more
good.
there,
I have it over here. Yeah, it's very good. It's with great tips.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. I'll take that as a review.
Yes. That's great. And it's underlined. I underline and I mark things.
Yeah, I heard that about you. You highlight. Got it. Okay. So the funny part about that is that, it started, right? And that the beginning of that year, I told my business coach that I want to impact lives. And one of my friends said, "Well, you should totally do this. I mean, this is great for you." I'm like, "Yeah, that's really interesting that you want me to do this. What are you talking about?" It's like, I don't want to coach. I do not like it anymore. I don't want to do it. Excuses and people coming in with their drama. I'm sorry. I have a lot of empathy, but I have none for people who have excuses. So it's kind of weird. Anyway, so you're saying that, and I'm thinking, okay, fast forward, you're talking about the Health and Wellness Network. Yeah. Another thing that if you would have told me 20 years ago or 10 years ago that I would be having a network that's global, I would have told you, "What are you, nuts? Me? Health and wellness? I have nothing healthy about me. Are you kidding?" It's like all of this, it's mindset. It's like, what are you talking about, right? When I started it, though, I was a part of another organization, and they were not in integrity of what they're doing. They were all about money. And for me, that did not work, right? I mean, I was, and they did something that was not nice. And so I was devastated. And my girlfriend said, "Well, why don't you start your own thing?" And I'm like, "Are you nuts? Do you know how much I do in a day? Like there's no way I'm doing another thing." Anyway, so I decided to do a mastermind because I wanted to bring health and wellness professionals and practitioners, product and service providers to network with corporate professionals. Actually, that's our mission. And I decided to do a mastermind, just invite a few people, not, like just 12 people would be nice. And it's New York, so everybody's last minute. And I kind of put it out there with one email 10 days ahead, right? Like, okay, whoever comes. Even if 4 people come, I'm okay, right? And so I was setting up for the event, and the day before, 4 people signed up for the mastermind. the day of, my girlfriend who was from Pennsylvania, oh, Dan, she's from your neck of the hood. She's from Punxsutawney. Anyway, so she comes in and I'm like, what are you doing here? She's like, well, I was in town for another thing. And there's a reason I'm telling you this. I was in the town for another thing. And I just thought I'd, of course, come and support you. I'm like, okay, great. So, and she's so much into health and wellness. It's amazing. Anyway, so here I am setting up with her. And this herd of people comes down the stairs. And here I am saying, are you guys here for the birthday party upstairs? And they're like, no, we're here for the mastermind. And I'm like, Susan, come here. You have to help me. You know, you sit down. If they paid online, they have to show it to you. You write their name. You take the money. I'll go network, right? And so I was running around like a chicken with no head. You know, Natalie meet Dan, Dan meet Natalie. You guys talk. I'll see you guys later. You know, it was just one of those things. And I for half an hour, my dear Natalie, 62 people showed up. Now, when you're prepared, it's okay to do a mastermind. When you're not prepared, not ready, right? So I said, everybody sit down. I just did a U shape. I'm like, everybody sit down. And so I said, my name is Orly Amor. I just created the Health and Wellness Network of Commerce Centers, and you are invited to this mastermind. But what we're going to do is treat it as a networking event. And you guys are all going to introduce yourselves. Here's what you're going to say, your name, because some people forget to say their name in 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. And you're going to say what you do, because everybody wants to know. Number 3, you're going to tell us what you need help with right now, like maybe you need some social media love, whatever. And number 4, you're going to tell us what's your passion. Why do you get up in the morning? You know, it could be a charity, could be a movement, whatever it is for you. And you have 30 seconds. Do I have a timer? Yes. Excellent. So we went around the room and I told everybody to listen to each other, not to look at their phones, to put them away, because by listening, the energy in the room is going to go through the roof when we start networking again. And so it was. The energy in the room was like, I couldn't hear myself think even, right? Here I am on the sideline when we opened it up for networking. It was crazy. And I'm here with Susan now, catching up, you know, just chatting. And this girl comes up to me and says, hey, can I start a group like this in Brooklyn? And I'm like, huh? Give me your card. I don't know. What are you talking about? Right? I was thinking mastermind one time, not, you know, once a month. And then this other girl comes up to me, and I'm a little geographically stupid, I tell people. But so she comes to me and she goes, can I start a group like this in Westchester? And that was like 15 minutes away from where we were, but I did not know where it was. So I said, well, where is Westchester? And then my girlfriend Susan says, I can start a group like this for you, like this is her words, in Punxsutawney. And I'm like, Punxsutawney? Does that even exist? She's like, yes, it does. And I'm like, that's the place from Groundhog Day, the movie. And I love that movie. And she's like, yeah, it's a real place. And there's real Phil, the groundhog. And I'm like, oh my God, road trip, let's go. You know, I want to do it. And I did not even think business anymore. I was like, I want to go. But Natalie, I went home and I had to redo I had a business plan, but I didn't have a business model, but a business model that can be duplicated. So 1 month later, we were in 3 countries and 3 states. 6 months later, we were in 6 countries and 6 states. Now we are in 20 states and about 6 countries still, because we didn't develop the global part, but we're still developing that. Just amazing. So basically there was a need and I didn't know it. That's really what it was. I did not know there was a need. I created something that went like a boom, you know, and now we are the largest digital platform of health and wellness in the world. Basically, we have like 200,000 users on the app. It's an app and a website that work together. And the cool part about it, it's free. The app is completely free, will always be free, but you can still connect. You can post on the wall. There is no censorship. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. And so at the end of the day, it's a beautiful way to connect with people. And there's events that are free. We do health and wellness summits that's coming up. We have expos also coming up next weekend in Florida and the week afterwards in New York. They're real live trade shows. So we do this everywhere. And it's grown to be an animal that I have not been able to tame. So when people tell me, well, how do you do that? I don't know. I really don't. It's just, you know, you have to follow your passion. And that helps you do everything you want to do, and you can delegate and you can grow by creating a good army and good soldiers that want to be around you. And if they don't belong there. That's
Yeah.
simple.
But it's interesting because, you know, it's almost like you're saying two different things at the same time, which is, you know, you didn't really know what you were doing. Everybody just showed up. And then you say grow an army. So it seems to me like you were inadvertently growing an army because you didn't plan on it. It was just like, okay, let's do this thing. Sounds like fun. And then all of a sudden there's a need and you responded to the need as
Right.
part of the bigger mission, right?
Right. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I thought that that was God's way of saying to me, this is how you're going to reach your goal by coaching others. That was the first time, because when I was asking my friends, should I be coaching speakers? One of them said to me, Orly, that would be one of the ways you can get to reach your goal of 200 million by helping others help people. They don't have to report how much money they're making, but what if they told you how many people they're impacting or how many people they're connected to on social media alone? You would have that number. And I'm like, wow, yeah, that's what I should do it. And that convinced me. Then when I did a Health and Wellness Network, when I saw it grow so fast, I was thinking, wow, maybe that's my avenue. Because the way I think is, Les Brown says, the how is not your business. And it's so true, right? It shows up, right? And Sir Richard Brunson says, when the opportunity knocks, say yes, figure it out later. And I've been living my life and building my companies with those two mantras. And so I believe that when you say yes, you figure it out. And then when you figure it out, maybe it doesn't work out or pan out, so you stop, but at least you tried. At least you did something, and that made you learn what you don't like or what you don't want to do or what doesn't work. Either way.
Yeah. Yeah. And then in between, you also, if I'm not mistaken, did something that had to do with books other than write books. Did you like
I sigh because I started a publishing house because of what happened to me. You know, it was everything that happens to me, I turn into, you know, it's like, you know, when life gives you lemons, you create lemonade. It's really that sort of thing, because I went to a publisher once and I said, you know, can you publish my book? Oh, we can get you to #1. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. They took 120 grand from me. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And ask me where the book is. I have no idea. Okay, now that's one thing, right? And then another company, after hearing my story, that's 2 years later after that fact, they said, oh no, we don't do it for that much, but we do it for 50,000 and we will get you blah, 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 blah. And okay, ask me where that book is, because I don't know. All right. Now here I am, $170,000 in the hole, and I still don't have a book published. Like, it was really weird. So I decided to publish it on my own and get a bunch of people that know the system really well to create my own publishing house. But now I give it to, I have a trusted publishing house that I give the publishing to, and we help with the promotion and marketing and so on. But you know what? I had to create it. And when people ask me for advice, I tell them, don't do it this, don't do that, or yes, you can, or yes, you can't. It's just really important to talk to people before making a decision. Paying that kind of money, maybe 20 grand is still a good thing today. $20,000 is not a bad price, but it depends to whom and for what. And that's what I tell people. Yes, it's a good number. And if you look online, I mean, some book publishers are 50,000 and more, but calm down. You can do this on your own. You know, it's like, don't throw your money away. I already did for you. I threw mine away. You're good.
I guess that's part of your service, right? You threw your money away so we don't have to do it.
And also, people who want to publish a book, I tell them, you know, a book is just a glorified business card today. Everybody has a book, and everybody can be a bestseller on Amazon. It's not hard. It's just knowing how. And so, yeah, that's why you pay for people to do it for you, because it's hard to learn how. That's all it is, really. So at the end of the day, it's good to have a book, but it's not the necessity to have a book if you want to be a public speaker, let's say, or if you want to be a coach. You don't have to have a book. I mean, there's so many myths out there, by the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you know, we met also in a book project. Yeah. So after all that time, we actually met in person for the first time. Was it this year? Yeah, it was this year.
Yeah, it was this year in Sweden. Yeah.
It feels like forever.
I know.
But, you know, the interesting thing is, I went through similar things. One of the companies, sounded good, promised everything, then went out of business and got sued by the government. That's not good.
Not good.
But what I have found is that it also depends on what you want to do. Like you're saying, you don't need it. It's a business card, something that you can give away in a JV or something like that. However, if you use it with promotions, with the right support, then yes, it can obviously help you get gigs and so forth.
Correct.
There is a difference though on how to use it. And then usually,
Sure.
I don't know, I guess some people then pay for a PR manager or something.
Yeah, and that too does not bring money. I can give you lists and lists of how to get on podcasts and real podcasts that you can call and get on podcasts. It doesn't bring you clients. I mean, it might give you exposure, and that's good. That's social proof, but it's not going to make you the money you deserve. You got to go get it yourself. Unfortunately, it's work, but it's worth it.
I remember you saying that a bunch of times in Sweden as well. I was like, it's work. And in your book, you say it too. It's work. It's work is one of those things that one of my coaches years ago said, you know what? Don't ever tell people that what you do with them is work because they don't want to work. And I was like, okay, but it sort of is work. It's like,
call it what it is.
Yes. It's like, I may not ask you to write a bunch of letters that are important like you do, but I asked you to journal. I asked you to do this. I asked you to. So until it becomes a routine, it's work. But it's like the way we approach things, we're not authentic about it. We're like trying to find pretty words for the work that we're doing.
Right.
So what's coming up next for you? You've traveled. I know you've been to Sweden, obviously, recently. You've been to Israel recently. I don't know if you've also stopped by Greece or wherever. So you're a world traveler. What's coming up next? Is your focus more on, I know you just did one in July, on helping people who want to be public speakers get gigs? Or is it more the health and wellness part? Or is it 50-50? What is your dream to focus on for this year?
Well, I want speakers to get out there and get paid. I want to be an advocate for speakers. There's many people that teach people how to do this business or how to speak. I really just want to take them there. I want to make sure that they are getting paid for what their knowledge is, because I believe that that's your intellectual property and you should be paid for it. And I really just want to do that more often. I create groups now. It's group coaching, so it's a lot more affordable for people. And that's really what I want. I want to fill my classes and have more people learning on how to do this business. By the way, I hold their hand. I always say to people, if you ever decide to work with me, my condolences in advance. You have me for life. It's in the contract. So unless you decide not to, that's what happens. So that's what's next for me. And I also have a foundation that helps human traffickers victims of human trafficking. So we are building healing centers for rescued victims of human trafficking, sex and labor slavery, to get their God-given right to life, freedom, education, and autonomy. And we are building those centers. So we're having a fundraiser, and so there's people that are involved in everything that I get involved in. The only thing that I'm concentrating on is mostly my coaching and my speaking. Because I believe that I still have a message to spread. And I believe that through that message, I can get more people and build the army, right? So it's all about that, and hopefully get speakers to learn my system and also teach that to other speakers. We all want to leave a legacy, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. And it takes the followers, and it takes followers, and it takes leaders. And being a leader is not so rosy as people may think. It's not. It's more responsibility. It's a lot more work. And so if you want to be a follower, it's a good thing too. And you can definitely be okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we need followers too to fill in what the leaders can't accomplish.
Yeah. If everybody was the boss, when we have,
that's just like too many cooks in the kitchen.
Who do the work?
Don't go there.
Who does the work? If there's too many bosses, who's the work? I'm just kidding.
Yes. Tell us a bit more about your foundation. Because I know you've told me a little bit about it, but sex
Yeah,
trafficking is such a huge issue, and you're not just reporting on it, you're doing something about it.
right. Again, things just fall onto my lap and I take it on and I see a need. And so, I was introduced to human trafficking in 2015. I do conferences on cruise ships. So one of the speakers that was there was telling us about how big it is and the numbers and when the kids are being abducted. And so in 2020, I learned more about what really is going on. And so in 2021, I decided that I will build healing centers to help those rescued victims. I've been talking to so many people and that are actually in the rescue missions, and they all say, well, we don't have anywhere to take them. Shelters don't want them. And they don't know how to deal with them, actually. And the what do you call it? Foster care is actually the bad place where it starts. So you don't want to take them there, but they have no choice if they're underage. And so all this made me decide to maybe start a foundation. It's called You Are My Light Foundation.org if you want to know more. But You Are My Light is actually my name. I had an executive board where we were talking finances, and I could not for 3 months find a name for this foundation. And one day, one of our advisors wrote in the chat, Orly means you are my light in Hebrew. And I said, Thomas, what do you mean by that? Why are you writing that? We're talking finance. And he said, well, why don't we call it You Are My Light Foundation? So everybody just jumped and said, I motion to call it You Are My Light Foundation. And I was crying because it was in front of me the whole time and I did not see it. It's amazing how that happens, right? It's right in front of you. You don't see it, and it takes somebody else to show you. And guess what? That's what coaching is about. That's what being a mentor is about. And that's why I don't like to call myself a coach. I love to call myself a mentor, because a mentor has a emotional vested interest in your success. And because I used to say mentor and people go, well, what's that? And I said, I'm a coach. Oh, okay. All right, fine. But I do like to call myself a mentor. I do take people by the hand, and that's really what I want to do. So the foundation will be run by the advisory board and committees. The Health and Wellness Network, it has a CEO, and she's running it, and I'm there, but I'm more on the superficial guideline part and I am involved, but not as deep anymore, because I love to do what I do, and that's speaking and coaching on the business side of public speaking. Yes. I'm still the only one in the world that guarantees on paper that they'll make 150K in writing. So that's in the first year.
I know. If you do the work, right? So if you don't do the work, then that's
but all I ask is 1 hour a day. Who doesn't have 1 hour a day? You could do it at 5 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock at night, or on the toilet, like I tell people. Like, no excuses.
Okay, but if you have a lot of family members and there's one bathroom, that doesn't work.
Natalie, you can take it there. Sounds great.
Awesome. So as you all have just heard, Orly, you are my light. Amor, love. And she didn't even figure out what to call that foundation.
That was amazing.
Because it's not about ego. And Dan, you said that earlier as well. So the speaking, the publishing, whether she really still wants to do that or not, the health and wellness, these are all things that the world needs. And thank you. Thank you, Orly. Number one, for getting up early. I don't know when you normally get up, but I know it's early on the East Coast. So thank you for getting up early. Thank you for being my guest. Everybody hopefully knows how to reach out to you. Okay, Orly Amor, she's on social media. Put a comment in here. And thank you what you do for the world, for speakers like me, for victims of sex trafficking, and for wellness professionals like me too.
Yeah, there you go.
Are there any last words for today that you'd like to share with the world?
No matter how tough things are and how depressing the world can be, I just tell people to live their passion. I know Tony Robbins used to say, live with passion. I just want you to live your passion, because it might be hard work and it might be tough times. Just don't ever give up. That's the only part that makes you lose in life, is to give up. You have to remind yourself that when you're going through tough times, and I'm not kidding, I know what that is. So that's would be my last words, is to don't give up. No matter what you're going through, just don't give up.
And they have some great stickers of that with
Yeah.
cats, dogs, frogs, people. Hang it everywhere.
Yes.
I have one over there, but I can't show it right now.
Okay. So cute.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everybody. I will be back in 2 weeks with another guest, and this one is going to actually be from Europe. Yeah, like south of Europe. So I will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much, Orly. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you so much, Natalie. Bye-bye.